Okay, that's good. Hi, everybody. I'm here. I've got everything ready to go. Gonna walk you through. I got my oven at 350 right now, and let me show you. I went ahead and mixed this up so I could get it in. I've never made this before, but I seen a recipe for it and it sounded pretty good. I bought 2 of those dollar packages of the broccoli, pieces at Walmart's, and I had 2 cans of mushroom soup. I have about a third of a frozen bag of, it had the green onion, red pepper in it. And I just chopped it up and put it in here with salt and pepper. And I took and put about a fourth of to about a half of a cup of milk and mixed it good. And there is also a cup of cheese, shredded cheese in here. I used the medium cheddar. And on top, I took and crushed, I mixed all that together. I greased this pan. I crushed some Doritos. Now you can use whatever flavor you want. I'm using the ranch, and they're plenty salty. I'm not going to use the cheese because I put cheese in the, it give you the option, using the cheese ones on the top or putting the cheese in, and I figured the cheese would be better in with it. So this is going to bake at 350 until it's bubbly and hot all the way through. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it in here so it can start baking. Then we're going to do the Elvis Presley meatloaf, which I've never made, and I found it to be very interesting. And while the meatloaf is cooking, I will walk you through the pumpkin nut bread. So I have a pound and 1 extra. It was a little bitty, a half a bag like this of some ground chuck I had left from the chili in here, and a 1 pound roll of ground chuck, and I just mashed that up. And it calls for 1 large egg in there. And I took and I sauteed, drop that one. I took and sauteed, it was a fourth of a cup of bell pepper, the colored peppers. I used a fourth of a cup of onion, a tablespoon of garlic in here, and it was a fourth of a cup of celery. And I sauteed that in some olive oil and cooked it down, so it makes sure it's, good and done in meatloaf. And that's what it said to do. And let me pick this fork up I dropped. Next, these are some really unusual ingredients. It calls for a half a teaspoon of pepper and a teaspoon of Lowry seasoning salt, okay? This is a recipe that his, the lady that cooked for him, made for him all the time. And next I have, in here, there's a tablespoon of ketchup, and there is 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire. And it said to mix that together and just put it in here like that. And next I have a cup of Ritz crackers crushed. I just buy the Walmart's brand, and it took 1 whole sleeve of them. And I'm going to dump that in. I think it's going to be kind of dry by what I'm putting in. But I think what the secret is to it is the half a cup of sour cream. And it calls for a half a cup of sour cream in here. Never have heard of that being a meatloaf before. And also, you'll find this kind of unusual. Let me see. I already put that in. A half a cup of, half a cup that, and a cup of the shredded cheese in here. That goes in. Half a cup of sour cream, cup of the shredded cheese. This is what's interesting. I'm gonna mix this up in a minute because it said to combine all of them and mix it. You need to get your pan ready, and this is what in it calls. I grease the bottom of it, and it says to take any kind of day old bread or bread that you can line it. And I have some French bread slices here that we like to eat for toast and stuff, to line the bottom of your dish, and your meatloaf is going to cook on top of this. And I think what it is really the reason, you know how you always have that grease and that fatty substance that's always underneath in your meatloaf? I think the bread absorbs that. And the lady that cooked for him, this is a, try to be a genius about some things. She's just was a Southern cook there in Tennessee, and this is the way she did it. And I'm sure that was, she didn't say that was the purpose in it, but I'm positive that is that it was to absorb the grease, because you discard the bread, you don't use the bread, you just discard it when you take the meatloaf off. So, and you do have to let it cool a little bit before you take it out. So let me get, I'm going to get a bigger spoon here, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to wash my hands, and then I'm going to put this meatloaf together with my hand, because that's what I do, guys. I use my hands, except I don't use it that much when I'm using chicken. Sometimes I put gloves on if I'm cooking with a lot of raw chicken, if I can't put it in a baggie and take it out with tongs. So I'm going to take and mix this all together. That's what she did, except she mixed it by hand. And you'll notice when you're mixing this, it's really, you can feel the moisture in it from that sour cream and cheese. And I was really surprised. You know, those ingredients, I've never heard of those ingredients in a meatloaf ever. I've heard of cheese, but I've never heard of using sour cream ever. But I do know, I can tell you one thing, don't over mix your meat, because it will make it tough. Just get it, I just take it and lap it over and over like this a few times, and I'll push that down in there and lap it again, because the more you work your meat, tougher it's going to be. So anyway, I'm going to take this, and it's staying together pretty good. I'm going to take it out and put it on this bread, and I'm going to mold it the way it said to. And I'm going to get this in the oven. Maybe it'll get done. I doubt it, but maybe it will before this is over. But it just sounded good. And I'm really about the only one in the family that likes meatloaf. I think my daughter and son-in-law will try this since it's different. I've never made it like this. So I'm hoping it's going to be, well, I know my grandson, one of them will, because he eats about anything but mashed potatoes, and it's a texture. So anyway, you take and do that. And it doesn't say to cover it or anything, but it does say to take and put a little ketchup or whatever sauce you prefer. And I'm going to take and just put some ketchup on the top of it to keep it, you know, well, that's just the way we made it. Okay. And I'm going to put this in the oven. So that's what it looks like, guys, and it's propped up on that bread. And I'm curious to see how that's going to turn out. Let me stick this in here. And those can cook while we're doing this other. Okay, this will make 2 loaves. I have a larger pan, and you just grease them. You don't flour them. I grease them with some oil, and a disposable one that I use for, and an extra one left from the date nut bread I did here a while back. I've showed you how to do banana bread. So this is a recipe for the pumpkin bread, and you don't have to use a mixer for this either. It's a 1 bowl recipe. So in this, I have 2 cups of granulated sugar, and I have a cup of brown sugar. And I'm just going to work these together, get some of those lumps from the brown sugar out. Like I said, I don't want to overwork it once I put the flour in. Make sure it is a bread, and it'll make it tough. This recipe does not call for baking powder. It calls for baking soda, and I think it's because there's 4 eggs that you use in this, and I think that might be the reason why, because eggs can act as a leavening, make your, different kinds of like pound cakes and stuff, and make some raise, I have heard that, so that's a little hard piece of, and I just bought that sugar too in the store. I think they're getting a lot of moisture and stuff in the stores or lately, or this stuff just sitting out there on trucks and not getting unloaded. Okay, 2 cups of granulated sugar. I've got, I'm using light brown sugar. You can use dark brown, would be fine. And then I'm going to take 4 large eggs, and you're gonna slightly beat them. Just slightly beat them. About like that. And I'm going to take this and work this into that sugar. Like that. And get that sugar incorporated in that. Those eggs here. You can use a mixture if you want to. It just says you don't have to. And I'm not going to use one because it's so loud when I'm cooking, and if it's not necessary, I'm not going to use it. Next, you need a cup of vegetable oil. Just add that cup of vegetable oil to it. I'm going to get my whisk over here to use. Like that. I hope everybody's having a good day. Got hot again here in Texas. We're supposed to have some storms coming in to cool it off. I hope it does, because I'm tired of the heat. We've had this heat since, we've had heat here since April, and it's been horrible. I've never known it to be this hot in October for a long time. So again, that's 2 cups of white sugar, cup of brown sugar. You have your 4 eggs beaten and a cup of oil in here. And next, I'm going to put the 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and it is a half a teaspoon of salt, and with 3 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour. And what I did, like I told you all, I get a piece of wax paper and I put it out here, and I just dip it out of my flour thing, and I sift it, and then I measure it. And you're going to come out with a different measurement. If you take and put 3 1/3 cups here and you sift it, you're not going to need all that. And that's where a lot of times you run into problems with your baking and stuff. It just, I don't know, it's just crazy. And then this is 3 teaspoons of pumpkin pie seasoning. If you don't have that, you can, I put a little tiny extra in too. If you don't have that, you can use cloves, ginger, nutmeg, and cinnamon, and kind of mix your own up the way that you want it. Some people like their breads a little stronger flavor, and some people don't. Just like with apple pie, then some people like a lot of the spice in there, some people don't. So next, I'm going to take, and it takes 1 whole can of this canned pumpkin. I got at Walmart. It was $1.47 for this can, compared to the name brands, which was almost $3, which I can't see. Pumpkin's pumpkin to me. And it's not the pumpkin pie filling. This is just the pureed pumpkin. I actually, when I lived in the country, I actually took and cut up pumpkin and made my own. I can't believe all the stuff I used to do years ago. It's crazy, but I did. It's very interesting. We took, got apples from the trees, and we took and made apple cobbler's and apple pies and apple jelly. And all kinds of things, you know, like that. So I'm gonna mix this up. I'm debating what to make next week, and I think what I will do next Sunday is do a shepherd's pie. If how y'all feel about that, and maybe make an apple pie with the streusel on the top. And that's that can of pumpkin. And then you take, this is a half a cup of just water. And do let your eggs get to room temperature for your baking. Anytime you're baking anything and you use eggs, you want to, and if you're using any kind of like milk, let it take the chill off of it. This one lady I watched on YouTube, and I used to watch quite a bit, she passed away. She had frugal.com, and she was a home cook. She cooked a little different than a lot of people because she was allergic to black pepper, and she had to substitute, you know, and make things taste a little different. But that lady, I mean, she even has a cake recipe, which I'm going to try around Christmas time or Thanksgiving. She uses half and half. I mean, not half and half, a small container of the whipping cream that you buy, and you use it in place of your eggs and oil. I thought that was kind of interesting that she didn't have to do that, you know. So I'm going to try that. And she did it in her any kind of cake, chocolate, a white cake, you know, like a vanilla cake, or she did a red velvet, I think, too. And she did, I'm going to also make an apple cake, and I want to make, because I love apple cakes. They take a little time, but I like to do them. Make an apple cake. They're pretty good, I think, you know, around the holidays. But I'm going to definitely make that Watergate salad and Watergate cake, because they are really good. Okay, I took and blended that. And I told y'all, I only use white lily flour. I ordered online from Kroger's because they don't stock it here any place close to me in Texas that I can find. They're always out of it, or they don't have it in stock. And I always order, I usually get 3 bags of the self-rising because I use that for biscuits and cornbread and things like that, pancakes, waffles, you know, that kind of stuff. And I usually get 3 bags of them all-purpose. And when I do that, I usually just order their big things of sugar because they're pretty reasonable. And they deliver it. I mean, I think it's $30, and they don't charge you to ship it. And I mean, that's the kind of flour I like, so that's what I use. It's a soft. It's just called a soft winter wheat flour, and I think it's the best you can get. I really do. And it's good for pies, anything like that. It's just great, and I like it. And if you're going to use any, you know, flour for quick, you know, for your rolls and stuff around Christmas or Thanksgiving, you know, that's makes a difference too. I'm just going to put some of this in and mix it as I go, because I don't want to over mix this. And I am going to add some walnuts. And you can add pecans, you can add raisins. I forgot to get mine out and set them on in some water and let them swell, some hot water. And I always use the golden raisins. I don't use the other dark raisins when I'm baking. I just prefer them. I think they taste better. See, that's kind of, it's got a few little things in it, but I'm not done. And you just don't want to overwork it. But this flour is, it's like almost like powder. It's pillowy. It's just light, and I'm telling you, it makes all the difference in your baking. When you're baking, it just makes a lot of difference. I really like it. So I'm also going to attempt sometime. I don't know if it's going to be before Christmas or after. It's going to depend on the weather and how much it costs me to do this. I want to make some tomato jelly, and I want to actually try to make some maybe blueberry jelly, and just make like maybe 6 small ones of each. And I thought, well, maybe I'll do that. I'll just pack them up with some breads and stuff and candies and cookies and send them to people. I think that would be, and I haven't made jelly in a long time. And you can get those jars pretty cheap at the Dollar Tree. I mean, they're $1. I think they're $1. I don't know if they're still $1 or $1.10 or $1.25. I'm not sure. But I mean, you know, and just, or have people save jars for you, you can rinse them out and you can always melt wax and put on there. You don't have to absolutely have the lids, but that's what my grandma used to do. Okay, this seems to be, looks like I've got everything mixed up from the bottom down. And I'm going to go ahead and put these nuts in. And I'm using walnuts. I like walnuts for some reason better than almonds. I don't know why, but I like pecan pie. Oh, and I know what else I'm going to make. I don't know if y'all have ever had them or not. I want to make some potato chip cookies. Did you put potato chips in? They're supposed to be good. I've never made them, but I want to do that. So let me see if I can do this without making a mess. See, because this has been raised, so you're going to want to watch your height on this. Here, let me spatula. I'm making a mess, of course. Y'all need to keep in mind, I've been following the case in Georgia, out of Georgia. Little boy's name is Quentin Simon. He's 20 months old and he's been missing. Supposedly, he was just disappeared out of his playpen. The grandmother said that the mother told her that she didn't remember what happened, but he was dumped at the landfill, and they haven't been able to find him. The grandmother had custody. The mother spent, all the kids were born addicted to drugs. They've all been removed. The youngest is 3 months old, and the father of that baby left, and his family, him, are trying to get custody of that one. But there's one that's older than Quentin, and he was 20 months old. And guys, it breaks my heart because I don't know why people just don't give these kids up. She was going to have to pay child support. It was coming up. And her grandmother had custody, and I mean, her mom had custody. I don't even know why, because her mother has a horrible record too. And she shouldn't even been left unattended around those kids to begin with, and she was, and I blame her mom for that. But I keep thinking about these cases, and the babysitter has documented stuff, and there's a creator that's going after the babysitter. I think it's unreal. Why would you go after a babysitter that was nice enough, that had 6 grown children, and was nice enough to watch 2 kids for $30 a day? That's just unheard of. She was making absolutely no money. And half the time they didn't bring, she didn't have diapers or anything for the kids. Then I got to thinking, this is the thing that come out, and you're going to think, we've heard about a different, we've heard about the Benadryl and Tylenol that another mother used. This crazy woman put NyQuil in her kids' bottles. Can you believe that? NyQuil and her kids' bottles. It's just unbelievable. I don't get it. And here she's got 3 kids. She's 22, got 3 kids. And I'm sorry, but to me, when women start doing this, or men, I don't care who it is, and they start hurting kids, or kids start disappearing, or they start losing custody, I think the state should step in, my opinion, and intervene and take those kids away. And I think they should demand that those parents, as part of their probation, parole, or whatever, they get fixed. I think they should be automatically sterilized. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. I don't think they deserve to keep having children that are either going to end up dead or abused. And the baby said there was pictures of bruises all over on this baby. Let me move this stuff around over here and get those in the oven here, because it's let's see, I'm gonna move these around so I can get my bread in there so it can start baking. It bakes at 350 for about 45 minutes until it comes, until the toothpick comes out clear. And this should be fine. It'll cook good enough as it raises. It should flow over. But anyway, I just can't believe that case. And some of the creators going after the babysitter. I don't get that. Why they're going after the babysitter? She didn't do anything, you know, but try to get realization to the authorities about what was going on to the kids. And I mean, and now the grandfather that was living there, he's not there with the grandmother now. He's left. The father of the 3 months left. His family and him are trying to get custody of the little girl. And I mean, the other 2 kids are right now with a family member, but still not found this little boy. He's no place to be. They haven't found his remains, and I don't know if it's a distraction, and he's been put someplace else, or if he's been put a number of places, or if enough time had lapsed that his remains and this kind of temperature and stuff more or less deteriorated, skeletized, maybe even animals. I don't know. You know, it's sad to say, but that's the kind of stuff that goes on. You know, animals get a hold of them and remains like that, and you run into where sometimes you never get them back. Maybe years later they might be identified by their teeth or by bone or something, you know. I don't know. Older people a lot of times have tattoos or scars or something, you know, that even breast implants, they can actually identify you through breast implants because they have numbers on them. I mean, that's even used as a way of identifying people, but this is just gone. I mean, this case is crazy. It just is. So anyway, try to continue to think about that little boy. He deserves to be found and have proper burial, and he deserves justice. He does. And remember I told you my friend's cousin was hurt on you know, bringing cattle down out of the mountains, and one of those ATVs had some kind of accident, and he's been unconscious, and most of the damage he had was to blows to the skull from it. So it's not changed. I mean, this has been a week and he's still on life support and stuff. So I'm sure that that's probably not going to have a very positive outcome. I think they're waiting for family to decide. They've done some more tests and stuff to see if anything's changed, and it hasn't. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he may end up being a donor, and if he is, that would be wonderful too. I think he's 22. I mean, you know, 4 or 5 people. I mean, I don't know if I think they said his lung was punctured, so I don't know how good those would be, but you know, your heart, kidney, liver. I mean, there's a lot of organs that even skin grafting and stuff, people can, corneas and stuff, a lot of people are waiting for things like that. But just keep her in your prayers, because she just, I mean, he just lost his dad, the one that's hurt so bad. He just buried his dad 8 months ago. So the family is going through a lot of stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to touch base with you on that again. Let me see who else in the chat. Hi, Panthera. You're working, and I know you're working and trying to, yeah, get things. Yeah, they're all liars. You're right. It's just absolutely, I mean, I'm totally fed up with this case. I mean, so far, because, and I mean, that even showed them, another channel creator was there outside the home, showed people bringing food and stuff to them, and they were sitting there eating dinner, the grandmother and the mom and her brothers and stuff. Why? I mean, these people all going there. Is that the way? How can you even eat when you've got a child missing like that? I would be so devastated. Food would be the furthest thing from my mind. And it's not the only case where people have missing family and they don't act accordingly. There's a girl that was missing too, and when her mom was notified that her body had been found and stuff, she was out eating sushi. And I mean, was like within, I think, 2 weeks time she went missing. So I mean, I don't understand people that do that, how they can live with their self and be so uncaring, but people are. So anyway, y'all think about, keep that little boy in your prayers, that I'm sure he's already deceased, and that at least that his remains get found and he gets a decent burial and that he gets justice, because he couldn't, he's a little baby, a 20-month-old baby. He can't speak for himself, you know, and everybody failed him. The people that was supposed to love him the most failed him. If you stop and think about that, a grandmother, you stop and think the mother, she didn't understand, she didn't even know who the father was of him. So, and all she had was a record of drugs, prostitution, just theft charges, credit card, using people's stolen credit cards. I mean, just on and on and on, like the drug charges, and just, I mean, it was crazy. And the grandmother too, has a horrible record. So I don't know how they even got released to custody to her. But it's a shame, because these kids can't defend themselves, and they don't have a way for anybody to openly speak up and, you know, give any, say, hey, this needs to stop. Stepping in. They need a judge to step in and say, no, we're not going to allow this, because all those kids were born while she was doing cocaine. So that ought to tell you a little bit. All three of them. Anyway, Lisa father's trying to get the 3-month-old. So I think that'll work out the best. Maybe the other little boys, he'll be left with family that can actually, you know, care for him and, you know, not abuse him, where he ends up like little Quentin. You seem to get the blunt end of it. Anyway, I'll go ahead and do that shepherd's pie Sunday. I'm not sure. I probably won't do any lives this week. Through the week, it's kind of hectic this week, but I will do the shepherd's pie and do that apple pie with the apple crisp on the top of it, and which is very good. And I will take some pictures of this stuff when it's done, and I will show you. I'll either put it up, do a video or something showing the stuff, or I will put it up on my, show you next time what it turned out, look like and stuff, put the pictures on it. And the next slide, so you've got a picture of what happened. So you all have a good rest of your day today with your family or whatever you're doing, and have a good week, and I will see you all Sunday we'll plan on about 3:30. So y'all have a good one, and I'll talk to y'all later, and take care, everybody. Bye.